What's up YouTube? Siegfried True Lane here, and today I'm making another video about Diablo Immortal. Now, I'm going to be honest up front, I do enjoy the game, I do play the game, I have been waiting for this style of game to come to mobile devices. I want to be up in front about that because I think that's very important for my opinion. If you've been watching YouTube a lot, you kind of are getting mixed opinions. You're getting from the PC game opinion about how bad the game is, and from the mobile opinion how good the game is. And it kind of puts this, honestly, this stereotype that mobile gamers are just, to be perfectly honest, stupid gamers that want to throw money at a company and don't care how the company treats them. And I want to make this video because that is 100% untrue on how the mobile gamers feel. Now, before I make this video, I do want to put in a bit of history. While I am currently a mobile gamer, I'm really only a mobile gamer because I live in Japan now. And I spend so much time on the train or traveling for work that I don't have time to always play on my PC. Now, when I can play on my PC, I prefer PC gaming for the most part, but sometimes I'm also just too tired after working here. You know, I live in Japan, I have long work days. Right now I'm trying to put up my own school, and I just get so tired that I don't want to sit in front of my computer. I just want to sit back and relax and play a game simply on my phone, as this is just a lot easier than actually having to see like this at a computer or even have a controller. Sometimes laying on my sofa just doing this while my kids are around me is so much easier. So that's kind of why I become a mobile gamer. But I think that after I've been watching a lot of videos, I've been seeing like from the mobile game department defending certain practices while the PC department is criticizing certain departments. And it all comes down to, well, it's a mobile game. You should expect if it's a mobile game. And another thing is the comparison to gacha games. And I'm going to be honest, this is very unfair when you compare it to your really top-end gacha games. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to compare certain aspects of Diablo Immortal to the current top-grossing gacha games on the market and the most popular gacha games on the market. I'm going to start not by most popular, but by the most pay-to-win to the most free-to-play, and explain why in each step. Let's start with Diablo Immortal and a gacha game known as Dragon Ball Legends. Now, Dragon Ball Legends is a Dragon Ball fighting game that uses cards to fight. It's actually very interesting how they make it work. It works really well. Like, it does work really well. Now, one thing about gacha games is all gacha games have an actual pity system. Now, if you think Diablo Immortal has a pity system, it doesn't. The pity system in Diablo Immortal is not a pity system that you would see in gacha games. The pity system in Diablo Immortal is pretty much the base thing they put in most gacha games. And that would be you're guaranteed a rare unit per multi-summon. This is why a lot of games do this. Now, not all games do this. 7 Deadly Sins does not guarantee a rare unit for every multi. Instead, you get an 11th unit. Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Z Legends guarantees you a Sparking, which is the second rarest unit. Both Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact give you a 4-star or an A rank, which is the second rarest, and do have potential to be very good units as you rank them up. Now, the other major difference, and this is a big difference between Diablo Immortal and all gacha games in general, right? Even your most pay-to-win gacha games do not require the free-to-play player to have the exact same amount of power as the pay-to-win player. The difference between free-to-play and pay-to-win is very, very different between Diablo Immortal and other gacha games that are, again, the top-branding gacha games. I'm going to talk about the small ones. I'm not even talking about the big name company gacha games all suck. Square Enix gacha, I mean, big Final Fantasy 14 fan here, big Square Enix fan here, but every single Square Enix gacha game I've tried, I put down within a month because it's freaking awful. It's awful. Bandai Namco is okay. Some of them are really good, most of them are okay. But with this said, I want to explain the power difference between these games. I see a lot of people defending Diablo saying it's not pay to win, blah, blah, blah. There's a major difference between Diablo Immortal and the most pay-to-win gacha game I know being Dragon Ball Legends and 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. These are the two biggest pay-to-win gacha games that I'm aware of that I play that are big-name games, right? I'm not talking... they hit top grossing. You get top grossing rewards from them. And these are the two things that are very different between them. Number one, they have a pity system. And what this pity system in that game does is it gets you what you want. So, in other words, in Diablo Immortal, if they had the correct pity system, it would be like, in 50 gems, you get the 5-star gem that you want. So say you're going for the Bloodstoke gem. That's what you will get. You get it. You don't get a random 5-star. That is the type of pity that every other gacha game has. Dragon Ball Legends gacha game pity system is impossible as a free-to-play player. I will say that right now. In order to hit the pity system in Dragon Ball Legends, you must pay to win because it takes 40,000 CC or 40 multis. That's right, 40 multis, not 50 multis. And here's the big thing about multis in Dragon Ball Legends. Now, we're in an anniversary right now, which means you get some pretty good sells. But in order to get that 40 multis, let me pull my calculator up right here real quick on my other computer. Let's see, we've got the once a day sales, which is a total of 3,000, pretty much 4,000. We'll say 4,000. It's 100 short, but 4,000 for about $55, right? So then, of course, we have that's honestly the best deal there, right there, to be honest. So you take that $55 and you multiply that by 10. $550 is going to guarantee you the unit from 0. Now, that's a lot of money, and again, I said I'm going to go by the most pay-to-win because Dragon Ball Legends is the most pay-to-win of this category. 100%. Now, you can save up a total of 20,000, so let's say you saved up 20,000 Chrono Crystals you haven't used, as well as the rewards we currently get in-game. That would decrease this by, half, which is now 275, which, again, is a ridiculous amount. Okay, I'm not defending this practice. I think it's way too expensive. In my opinion, I think that a multi should cost at max $10. My opinion. This is why I currently now and have for the last year been playing Dragon Ball Legends as a free-to-play player. Now I will say that the rates in Dragon Ball Legends are much different as well. For example, in the current banner that we have, your chance to pull the new unit is a 0.5%, not 0.05%, 0.5%. So 10 times higher than to pull that 5-star gem in Diablo. And the chance to pull the rare units is 0.25%, while the chance to pull the new unit is 1%. There is also a secondary pity system that you can use instead. If you're not going to buy the unit, you can buy the tickets, which gives you a 5% chance to pull the unit. To be fair, the tickets always suck for me. Again, this is the most pay-to-win gacha game I know. But here's the other thing. While there is a power difference between a character with a 14... Like, if you're going against a whale with 14-star characters and Z+ materials, you are going to feel that. Z+ equipment, sorry. You're going to feel it. But... luckily that branch is so high up in PvP where that's the only part that matters. The only place that matters is PvP, and it's so high up in PvP that free-to-play players don't even have a chance to ever really get to that level. Which, okay, that's not true. If you are really good in this game, you do have a chance. You just have to, as a free-to-play player, you have to outplay pay-to-win players way more. But the big thing is that when a new unit comes out, I do know that most people spend maybe $1,000, $2,000 to max that character out. And I will say the furthest I went is 40,000 CC for a character, which I regretted doing. And to be honest, I actually quit playing the game for a long time, and that was when I decided to really go free to play if I ever spent more than $100 again. Which I did, and now I am free to play, and I cannot spend money in the game at all. I've locked it for my spending to where it is impossible for me to spend in it again. Again, Dragon Ball Legends, the worst gacha game, but if you compare that to Diablo Immortal, completely different game. If you wanted to max out a full team in Dragon Ball Legends for PvP, you're looking at maybe $6,000. Unless you just had the worst luck possible and had to go to pity 6 times, which again, I have not seen one time in this game's history. Usually when they 14-star character, it's about $1,000 to $2,000. So you're talking that $6,000 to $12,000 if you really want to 14-star this unit day one. But here's the big thing to remember, and this is very important between this game and all gacha games compared to Diablo Immortal. In Diablo Immortal, the premium currency is the orbs. These are not earnable in-game. You cannot farm these orbs to spend how you want to use them. In every single gacha game, that currency is farmable in-game, which means you can farm it, you can save it, and you can use it how you want to use it. This means that as a free-to-play player, let's say, the anniversary is coming up. Most gacha games have a huge anniversary with super hyped units, really good deals, and it's usually and a lot of giveaways, like a lot of in-game rewards. This is usually the time where free-to-play players really will utilize all that they've saved over a year. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not fun to have to save for a whole year and wait for that one time to really summon 1 to 4 times a year. But you have the option, and that's 4 times a year. Those are the big name banners. Those are the banners that you are going to get the most value out of, and they actually will allow a free-to-play player to be competitive with a pay-to-win player. Now, when I say competitive, what I mean is they have a chance to win. You don't have a chance to win in Diablo. Like, the way Diablo works, if I'm going against anybody who spent over $100 in Diablo, they're going to kill me. And let's just say I'm a top-tier Diablo player, right? I'm like the top #1 player, which I'm not. If I'm going against somebody who spent $1,000, they're going to kill me. This is not the same in Dragon Ball Legends. In Dragon Ball Legends, if you are a top-tier player, you can actually beat these whales, but it's a very hard battle. But there is a chance, and it's a much greater chance, because the power difference is so different. And because if you know how to play a free-to-play player in gacha games naturally, you will be able to get those units you're going to use at much higher power than you can with Diablo Immortal. A good example is I'm a free-to-play player. We're having the Legends anniversary right now. I saved up a good 15,000 Chrono Crystals, that's 15 multis, and I pulled the Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku twice, which he's now on my team at 6 stars. He's more than comfortable for a PvP at this point, where I'm going to PvP. I also have units, like, I have 3 units on my team that are 14 stars, or at least one that's like, I pull it one more time, he's 14 stars. And again, I haven't spent money in this game in a year, and that's the thing. These units, you pull them over time, you buff them up, and then they get what's called a Zenkai, which is free, and that puts them back, makes them relevant again. This means that this unit that I pulled 2 years ago, that I have for 14 stars, just got what's called a Zenkai buff. He's buffed up, he is relevant again to go back into PvP. A unit I pulled 3 years ago, got to 14 stars. He got a Zenkai buff. He is now relevant to go back into PvP. These units are now in the top tier of a tier list. They're 3 years old, they get reworked, they get buffed, and boom, you've got a unit again. Now, PvP games, this is important because PvP games, they like to switch the meta as much as possible to make you spend more money. Now, again, Legends has its problems. It's not nearly as good of a gacha game. This is actually probably one of the worst gacha games in the top brand gacha games, but it is mountains above above Diablo Immortal, and I want to bring these up because I think it's very important and very unfair to compare Diablo Immortal to a gacha game. Diablo Immortal is not a gacha game. Diablo Immortal is a loot box game. And if you're asking the difference between a loot box and a gacha, it's very different. When you go into a gacha, that's the same thing as putting a quarter in one of those little machines that go that's actually where it comes from. The term gacha comes from the Japanese term for the little machines that you put a quarter in, you turn and you get a little UFO capsule, right? A little capsule machine. Has something in it. That's what it literally is. It's got, whenever I go by this, my son says he wants to do the gacha. That's what that is. It's that machine. So when you're playing gacha games, it's the equivalent of using those little machines where you put a quarter in and you get an item. I wouldn't consider that the same as gambling. I wouldn't consider that the same as loot boxes. Because loot boxes, it's like, there is a difference in the ideology behind it. And again, in a loot box, you're usually going for one specific item. In gacha games, there are still going to be items that drop that, oh, this character is really useful. That's really useful. Again, I'm not saying it's predatory. I'm not protecting it. I'm not defending it. It's still bad. But it is a little different from gambling because of how gacha games work with their pity systems. Again, Dragon Ball Legends now and Dokkan Battle, you do a 10 multi, you're guaranteed to get units, and again, most important, you can earn the currency in-game. You can actually play this game without ever summoning. There are YouTubers that actually play the game, summon during the right times, and don't spend $1. Because they save and they position their spending and they make those decisions. That is what makes a game free-to-play friendly or not free-to-play friendly. What makes a game free-to-play friendly is how much in-game premium currency they give you, and how often they release hype units, and how bad the pity system is. Dragon Ball Legends, they give decent currency in-game. The releases aren't too bad. I think it's about a month, but the pity system is really bad. So Dragon Ball Legends, again, one of the worst. Now let's compare it to what I consider the second worst gacha game that I played really hyped is 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Now, 7W Sims Grand Cross has two different pity systems, right? First of all, they do not have the multi-pity system. They have a you get 11 summons if you do a multi. So you get a bonus summon. And to be honest, the rates in Grand Cross are god-awful. Like, the rates in Grand Cross are a freaking joke. They're trash. They're 100% trash. And anybody who says anything else, like about how the rates are good, no, they're not. 3% to pull a SSR unit, and only a 0.5 or less than that to pull the guarantee, the big unit, is not good. And I don't like those rates. At least in Dragon Ball Legends, you do have higher rates to pull units. So anyone who tries to say Grand Cross has good rates, they don't. What Grand Cross does have is a pity system that a free-to-play player can achieve realistically every couple months. So let's take a look at the Grand Cross system, how it works, right? So, number one, you get quite a bit of currency in game. As a free-to-play player, you can get the PvP system is actually very easy to get top rewards as a free-to-play player. That Grand Cross has the most friendly free-to-play PvP I've ever seen, because getting the 50 gems out of 60 gems, which is only it's really not as a big difference as you might think, as it takes 30 for a multi. That extra 10 is, you might miss out on the other 10, but getting the at least 50 every free-to-play player can hit. So that's an easy 50 gems every month. Then you get a total of 10 gems every week from logins, and you get a total of 5 gems for doing the dailies. This means that you get a total of 35 from dailies, 10 from logins, that's 45, plus an extra 50 from PvP, 60 if you can actually hit the top rank, which again is very easy free-to-play player-wise. You can do it as a free-to-play player if you actually focus on one team. So if you get that 60 plus the 45, that's 105 a week, that's 420 a week. To hit the pity for smaller banners, you need 600. To hit the pity for the big banners, you need 900. This means it takes about 2.5 months to get it. Very, very reasonable system. Definitely not as bad as Diablo Immortal, and there have been multiple times where I have saved up enough gems to hit that pity. The other thing that's very different is that, or we're going to take a look at, is how much would it cost you to get to that pity. So we'll look it up right now. Now again, you need a total of 900 gems, which is 30 multis, right? It's 30 multis? Yeah, 30 multis. You need 30 multis. I want to make sure I'm right. Let's see. I think I'm wrong. Let's see. 900 divided by 30. Yeah, 30. Sorry. Okay, you need 30 multis, right? 30 multis, right? You need 30 multis to hit the pity system. That's 10 less than Dragon Ball Legends, by the way. I gotta log in real quick and take a look at the shop, and I'm gonna give the prices here. Now, again, regardless of what the prices are, I do still think it's way too expensive, right? I don't in any way defend this, but if we take a look at the bundles that they have right now during this anniversary, because again, another anniversary, which means that you do get a bit more bundles, to be fair, a bit more of a save. But if we take a look at the bundles, the average bundles, you get about, let's see, 6 times 30 plus 100. So you get about 280. So you need this about 3 times to buy this. Okay, so you need about 3 of these would be enough. So $8 times 3. So 240 bucks. 240 bucks if you go from 0 gems, you can actually get buy enough gems to get the unit. Now, something to remember is that also, since this is an anniversary, we actually will be able to farm up 900 gems before the unit goes away, which means you could technically get the anniversary unit for free. Now, another thing that Diablo has is that you need duplicates of the items, right? And gacha games have that too. Dragon Ball Legends is probably the worst. It's ungodly how many copies you need in that game. It's ridiculous. And pretty much most people go for 6 stars, which is a total of, if you're going by base power rates, 4 copies, 4 times. But they've been doing lately double Z power, so you only need to pull it twice now, which is very nice. And in Grand Cross, well, you got to buy the cosmetics. You probably want to pull it about 6. You probably want to get it as close, at least 3 or 4 times. But I have one of my characters at 2, and it's no problem PvP. It just would be a lot easier when he gets 6. Now, Grand Cross and Legends also have a secondary pity system, which I'm going to talk about later after we get to Dokkan, and we're getting to Dokkan right now. Now, Dokkan's pity system is very different. Dokkan's pity system is actually not from summoning. Well, I mean, like, it's not like you summon a certain amount. It's actually a system where every time you do a multi, you get these coins. They have 3 different banners. One gives blue, red, yellow coins. Yellow are the Dokkan Fest, the best units pretty much. Yellow are the base LRs. And then blues are, you never really waste on blues if you can avoid it. For 500 red coins, and you get 10 per multi, so 50 multis, every 50 multis, you can actually get enough coins to buy the Dokkan Fest LR, which is the legendary rare unit. 400, you can buy a Dokkan Fest SSR or UR, which is the secondary rare. Now, this is not 50 multis in a banner. This is 50 multis over time. And something to remember about Dokkan Battle is that you can earn, usually on a base, probably about 60 Dragon Stones, 60 to 70 Dragon Stones a month, which is about a multi a month, right? Now, this does not include all the other stuff they pull in, because they put things like, they have events that give you 30, they have these that give you 5, they throw in new quests, each quest gives you 1 per quest. I mean, usually when people calculate how many stones we get in that game, it's usually enough for about 50 to 100 multis per year. This means you can ideally buy 1 to 2 Dokkan Fest LRs per year. Now, the downside of this pity system is you have to wait for that unit to come back. Right now, I'm sitting at enough to buy one of the LRs that'll be coming in the 4th anniversary later this month, in case I don't pull both of them or I only pull one of them. This way, I can buy the other one and have both of them. That is my plan, but I'll have to wait for them to come back in about 6 months, which is the downside of the pity system. Now, both Legends and 7 Deadly Sins have the exact same pity system. You actually get, in 7 Deadly Sins, you get coins, which you can then use to buy a specific unit of that brand. So if you're going for a Fest unit, you can buy the Fest unit. If you're going for a non-Fest unit, use the non-Fest coins to buy a non-Fest unit. This is very efficient because it allowed me to get my Fest unit that I have currently 2 to 6. When it comes to that shop, I currently have 6 festival coins from duplicates I pulled a Fest unit that I can use to buy 2 copies of him. So when we're talking about the 7 Deadly Sins, I mean, they have this pity as well with the coins. So again, I'm ready to buy the 2 extra copies of the unit that I use for PvP, putting him at 4 out of 6. Now, I also want to talk about how many units you have to pull at this point. I want to talk about how many, actually, I'll save that then. I won't save the end. But if you notice, my shirt has changed. I actually just went and gave the kids a bath. I took a bath myself. So this is actually about 45 minutes later from starting the video. I paused it and I'm finishing now. Now, I want to talk about the Dragon Ball Legends pity system that they have as well with their tickets. There's a certain amount of tickets you can earn, and you can then spend 1,000 tickets to get 1,000 Z-Power for an LF unit. That's actually about 3 stars when you would normally get them at 2. So I would personally prefer it be 600 and you get them at 600 Z-Power, or just have the Z-Power in the actual shop itself. Now, as you can see, all 3 of those systems have an actual pity system that will allow you to get the unit you want if it's available. This is kind of, if you look at, Diablo Immortal, their version of this pity system is the Fa Runes, which you can then get 22, and you have a chance to get a 1 through 5 star, with the 5 star being very rare. And on top of that, those, while they're technically free, they take a long time to farm. That is not even funny. Like, the amount of farming you have to do, let's say you go at 8 per run, and you need 18, right? So we're going to take 18, multiply that by 22, because you need 22 Fa Runes, and divide that by 8, you need 50 runs, right? We're going to average about 50 runs. So that's 49.5, so 50 runs to get enough to craft 1 chance at a 5-star gem. 50 runs. And if you don't think that's going to get boring, then take a look at some of the gacha game and be like right now, we're like in Dragon Ball Legends anniversary, we got like events, we got to be running them. And I ran one 50 times, and I'm going to tell you, it's not fun. It's not fun, and I'm only doing that for the reward. But the reward for doing that, by the way, is 600, is a power that is 600 Z power, which again is how you power up your units, which is actually a lot. And we'll get the newest unit I just pulled from 6 to 7 stars, which will be a much better boost for him. And I can get it for free by doing this, and I know I'm going to get it. It's not a roulette. I'm getting it, right? The other one is for actual that I'm doing is for premium in-game currency, which I know I'm going to get. It's about 2,000 more I want to go for. These are not random rewards. These are rewards I know I'm going to get, and I know what I'm going for. And let's just say if you ran 50 dungeons and you knew you were going to get a 5-star gem, even if it's a 2 to 5-star gem, it would be worth it for you. But being as it's a 1 to 5-star, with 5-star being at 3%, it's not worth it. It's really bad. So even when you look at Diablo Legends, the closest comparison to this pity system, it's still garbage. So I've kind of gone over the 3 biggest gacha games that I honestly find to be the most pay to win. Now, Dokkan Battle is honestly not pay to win. Dokkan Battle is a game where there's no PvP, and they boost old units that you're going to have pulled over time. It's like almost impossible to have some of these units. And while you might not have some of the newer units, as long as you, with the new coin system, you are going to be able to buy some. And they also in both Dokkan and Legends, and even Seven Deadly Sins, just be like here, like we just had it in all 3, where Legends we got 400 summon. Like right now, Legends are giving you 400 summons for free, plus 4 free LFs, which are the rarest units that are out there. Plus the LFZ powers that are free. I mean, it's quite a good deal right there, and that's all free, right? Seven Deadly Sins just did one where you had to spend 30 gems, but you got the other 13 multis for free, netting you 2 fest units. One being a character known as the One, which is one of or Goddess Liz. You can pick between them, who is a very good hype unit and a very loved in like one of the more popular units. Again, free. These characters get away free. And this is something else that comes with gacha games. Gacha games tend to give things away for free, and oddly enough, not in a manner to make you spend. Like, what they will give you for free doesn't actually connect to spending. For example, a free unit. Dokkan and Legends will give away free units, and these units will actually be competitive with premium units. And what this does is this does create a system for free-to-play players to get a 14-star unit that, while it's not as good as a premium unit because they do have to make money, can actually compete with them. Seven Deadly Sins has a different system where you pretty much can buy all the old units eventually with the in-game currency you're going to get from summoning, right? Like, I've got most of my units maxed out just from that alone. Now, again, in both Dokkan, Legends, I'm free-to-play, and Seven Deadly Sins, I'm mostly free-to-play. I only spend during the collaboration events because those units do not come back, and that's kind of a bigger thing that is a fake scarcity, which I hate, but it is, of course, the FOMO, fear of missing out. Now I want to get into the big ones, the big 2, right? I'm going to talk about Honkai Impact and its sister game, the one that everybody knows, Genshin Impact. Now again, these games are not for everybody. Like, you probably don't enjoy these games. If you don't enjoy playing the games, don't play them. We're not comparing which game is more enjoyable or more fun, because that's really a matter of opinion. If you think Diablo Immortal is fun, that's your opinion. You're free to have it. I mean, I think it's fun, but I don't know how long I'm going to think it's fun, if that makes sense. And I'm, at the same time, while I think it's fun, I'm fully aware of what the game is. And I'm not going to sit here and whitewash it or sugarcoat it or make it sound anything that it isn't. And that's kind of why I'm making this video, because I see a lot of comparison to gacha games, and it's true if you compare them to like some of the big, like Square Enix gacha games, or some of the worst gacha games, or games with loot boxes. Diablo is more comparison to that. But the big thing is that a gacha game and a loot box game is different. It is different how they are done. And I can tell you this from playing both of the games, there's also a completely different feeling. And you will find a very good free-to-play base in many gacha games of people who play without spending money. And now we're going to hit the 2, which I find to be the best gacha games. And Honkai Impact we're going to talk about actually second, mostly because I think it's the top #1 free-to-play friendly gacha game. And again, these are all comparisons to Diablo Immortal. If you watch my channel, you know Honkai is a big game I play. But let's go to Genshin Impact first. Genshin Impact is completely free-to-play possibility. You can actually compete with other players being completely free-to-play. It just comes down to summoning only when you see the character you want. There's only one character in that entire game that you must have, and one thing they've done in Genshin is brought him back, I think, 4 times now. So this character has come back 4 times within that year and a half, it's almost 2 years now. He's come back 4 times. And all 4 of those times, we knew he was coming back, and that would have been a time to wait and summon on him. And the first time, nobody knew how good he was. But after then he got buffed, and the second, third, and fourth, everybody knew he was worth going for. I have actually fully maxed him out because I knew how good he was. This unit will change the game completely, but this unit, again, if they bring it back enough, it's fine. And the other thing about Genshin Impact that a lot of people might say is pay to win, but to be honest, that's complete bull, is the pity system. If you aren't aware of how pity systems work, usually in the pity system, such as Legends or Seven Sins, when the banner changes, the pity system goes away. And most gacha games run that. When the banner changes, the pity system's gone, and all the summons you did, you might get something that's completely useless for it. But in Genshin Impact, the pity system carries to the next banner. So let's just say, like, again, it's a double pity system. The first is that at 9 multis, you're guaranteed a 5-star, but at 8 multis, the rate jumps up very high, right? If you get to, say, the 9 multis or the 8 multis, and you are unable to pull, you didn't pull the 5-star, you will get a 5-star. And let's just say you do not get the featured 5-star. Then the next 5-star you pull is guaranteed to be the featured 5-star on the banner. This means that if you do not summon on a banner that you don't want that unit on, you will actually not be, it's not that bad. You might have to wait longer to get a unit you want. You might not have these 6-star units with weapons. But the thing to remember about Genshin is that two things, right? Number 1, no leaderboard. Number 2, no PvP. Now, I will say one thing. The last floor of the Abyss is heavily pay to win. But to be honest, it's only 2 singles. It's 2 single summons. That's all you get, and it's not fun. I stopped doing that last floor of the Abyss because it's not fun. It's unfair, and to be honest, it's 300 crystals. It's not even 2 singles. It's literally 20 primo gems short. Primo gems short of 2 multis. So it's not worth like if you take a look at how much you get per year. Let's see, it would be less than 2.5 multis per year to complete that floor. Not worth it. They also do have the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass, by the way, is a very good system in gacha games. And the Battle Pass, by the way, I do think is good at Diablo Immortal. In fact, Diablo Immortal does have a good Battle Pass. The fact is, they give away the good stuff on the free Battle Pass. And I think people are being unfair at the Battle Pass in Diablo Immortal. The Diablo Immortal Battle Pass is good. For $5, you get the cosmetic and you get that weapon. That is actually really good. For $5 you get the cosmetics, and you get some other things. But for free you get the sidearm, legendary sidearm of your choice. That is actually really good. If they keep the battle pass like that, I'm okay with that. Second is the ranking up pass, leveling up pass. Most gacha games do have this, and I do think that is actually worth it. If you're going to play this game seriously, it is worth going into. The daily login pass, honestly, not really. No, that's not worth it. Only 7 gems for daily logins is not worth it, right? I think the daily login should have given eternal orbs. I think you should have gotten 60 eternal orbs per day for logging in. That's what most games do with their daily logins, their subscription-based system. You get in-game premium currency. So it's actually a good amount. For example, in Genshin, you pay, say, $5, you get 90 a day for 30 days. And then you also get, you get 90 a day times 30. And then you also get 300 on top. So in Genshin, you get 3,000 for $5. That's actually really good. 3,000 is really good over $5. And in Honkai, you're going to get actually less. You only get about 2,800, which is actually kind of odd. Like in Honkai, I still get the monthly subscription, but it's really not. It's not as good as Genshin's for that $5. Diablo Immortal subscription is really bad. It's overpriced, and it doesn't give you anything worth it, which is actually kind of good, because that means that just like the Dragon Ball Legends monthly pass, the 7 Sins monthly pass, I can skip it and I don't feel bad. Now, there are parts of Genshin that are really bad. And when you talk about Genshin, people talk about pay to win, they mostly talk about the weapons banner. But the other separation difference between that is that Genshin gives away enough good 4-star weapons, And with that, the free banner where you are going to be getting gems over time for that, enough to get a couple 5-stars, every other 5-star will be a weapon. So you are going to end up with 5-star weapons. But I will say that the weapon banner is absolutely horrible. The last gacha game I'm going to bring into this is Honkai Impact. Honkai Impact is another gacha game which I personally find to be the most free-to-play friendly gacha game because a good chunk of the year 1 units are now completely free-to-play. You can farm up the in-game currency and buy them. You also get a bunch of free of these S-rank units through the beginner quest as well. I think you get up to 5 of them. Now you could get a duplicate, which is kind of a bummer. And then you get pretty good in-game currency. Like when you get to the end, the story's good. The way the game plays is good. The game definitely plays way smoother than Diablo Immortal. Let's say that. The game plays very smooth. The story's very good. The story's quite dark and dramatic. There's a lot of actual surprising things that come from it. Again, this is from China. Genshin and Honkai Impact are honestly signs that China gacha games can be really good if it comes from the correct company that cares. I will say Honkai devs tend to care way more than Genshin devs. This is why Honkai is my favorite. But you are able to get, and then they do have times when they will release a new S rank, but be like, hey, you've been farming this in-game currency, you can just buy it with this instead. You've been farming this in-game currency from doing this event that has no tie to money, by the way, because there are 2 different premium currencies in Honkai. There are coins and there are gems, right? And the coins are always the better buy. The coins are for purchasing the bundles in the shop, while the gems are for purchasing the just doing summons itself. So you always want to do the coins first to get the tickets, and then do the gems if you're going to spend in that game. Now, but all the other currency in that game has no tie to actual monetary value. So none of the other currency in that game is, you can technically buy some of it, but you would have to buy coins and then buy that package that has those coins, those items, which, to be perfectly honest, is just a bad decision if you're a paying player. There's literally no reason to buy it because you just be patient. It doesn't take that much time. Another thing Honkai does that I've noticed, and this is really important for gacha games, is that Honkai brings all things that are premium become free. They become craftable, become something you can get over time. It takes time to craft it. But we're talking about something such as, you look at Diablo's gems, where it's going to take me 50 runs to craft an item that might get me a 5-star, and I doubt has a pity on it to get me a 5-star at some point. And even if it did, we're looking at 50 runs times 50 times. We're looking at a total of 2,500 runs. We divide that by 365 days. You have to run it 7 times a day for a year to get 1 5-star. Let that sink in. 7 times a day, a year. And that's if it even has a pity. Now, Honkai, you get these tickets per, about 6 a week. And if you have the time passes, you can get a lot more currency. But let's just say you don't. You usually can get about, say, this thing called ether fuel, maybe 9 a run. Times that by 6, that's 54. Times that by, so that's 54 a week you can get. And let's just, and you need quite a bit to be fair. But they also have events that give it to you. I think for me, when I went to go craft a specific equipment set, and all the equipment set's the same, so there's no randomizer to it except for rerolling certain stats, which rerolling them is very easy, and again, free to play. It's not hard to do, it's very easy. It can be frustrating if RNG is bad, but those are just the substats that you just reroll on the piece you already have. And you don't need to make a new piece. You just roll the piece you have. And that, I think it took me about a month and a half to 2 months to craft one of the stigmatas, and there's a total of 3. So maybe if you didn't really want to spend money on a specific stigmata, it might take you 6 months. Which, honestly, again, isn't that bad. There's no PvP in this game. There are leaderboards. But I'm not free to play in the game, I will say that. But I know a lot of free to play players who actually have several of the S ranks they want, have several of these what are called pre-arms that they want. Pre-arms are 6-star weapons, which you get by getting the original 5-star weapon, and then you can craft that 5-star weapon into a 6-star weapon. Now, the pre-arms are a little confusing, but let's just say that I was really worried they were going to be a pay-to-win aesthetic. They're not, which was really nice. And when you take a look at the pity systems in Honkai compared to almost every other gacha game, such as the every multi is going to guarantee you a 4-star weapon or stigmata, and the 4-star weapons become 5-star weapons, and the main weapon on the banner you're going for, the weapon, has the highest drop chance for a singular item. The stigmatas have the highest drop chance if you count a combined item. Now, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm going through all of these different systems is because if you take a look at gacha game systems of the top running gacha games right now, Honkai Impact, Genshin Impact, Dragon Ball Legends, Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, and Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle, these are the 5 top gacha games, really. If you take a look at them, they actually have they have a way to earn in-game currency. And there are a couple things that make a game free-to-play friendly. Number 1, how many of said unit do you have to have? Number 2, how much in-game currency do you actually earn? Number 3, what are the rates on getting this? Number 4, how often are hype units coming and how often do they come back? And number 5, pity systems. Now, all of these games I've talked about have in-game currency you earn and usually give a good amount to a lot. Not many give really bad amount. Second, they all have a pity system that is usually pretty good. Third, they all have, like, I don't know, I just lost in my thoughts. I just lost everything. My head just went clear. I hate when this happens. I just like my head just completely emptied itself. They all have a pity system. They all have a good amount of income. Oh yeah, sorry. The units come at reasonable times. Usually the banners take about 3 months. Fourth, the rates aren't that bad. Some are really bad, kid. I'm not gonna lie. Like, some rates are bad that make those a little more pay to win play, like Legends and Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Dokkan Battle a bit, but Dokkan Battle is a PvP. The other thing is, again, the difference between a free-to-play player and a paid-to-win player is power. And again, that's very big here because there's a major difference. Oh yeah, and how many copies you need. Sorry, how many copies you need. So in Legends is the worst here. You need, let's say, you need about 9,999, right? And you get 600 Z power per unit. You need to pull 17 copies of a unit to max it out. That's really bad, by the way. That's bad by all gacha terms. And it does make a big difference. Now in Honkai Impact, you need more, but to be honest, they have 2 systems here that will help that. Number 1 is the linking system, which usually links to an A rank unit, which is completely free to play, and you can grind up to the higher ranks, the triple S, which will unlock linking skills. I've actually unlocked 2 very important linking skills on my rare units by upgrading the lesser rare units. Very important system, number 1. Number 2 is that the levels don't have that much of a power creep where it's completely, oh my goodness. In fact, Honkai Impact has one of the smallest power jumps where it doesn't make any sense to really go for dupes. I have seen some people hop into Honkai and be like, oh, I'm gonna go for triple S'ing this unit, and it's usually a Genshin player who is used to having to Constellation 6 their unit. That's not necessary in Honkai Impact. But it is quite necessary to get your character up to about 6 stars in Legends, which again, at the default amount, is about having to pull the unit 4 times. 5 times if you want, that's 7 star. In Dokkan Battle, you have to pull a unit 5 times. That's not bad. Genshin, Seven Deadly Sins, 6 times. Genshin Impact, 7 times. Genshin Impact is pretty bad when it comes to this, to be honest. Because in Seven Deadly Sins, in Genshin Impact, and Dragon Ball Legends, those dupes do make a major difference most of the time. Sometimes they don't in certain characters, but for the most part, they make a big difference. Dokkan Battle, you really only need 2. The other 2 don't make a huge difference. It's that first and second duplicate copy that you need. And then again, in Honkai, really doesn't make much of a difference. Some of the better upgraded skills are linked to rare units, where you upgrade that rare unit and you will unlock that skill for your other unit. Now, even if you take a look at Legends, Legends, Seven Deadly Sins, and Genshin, and you compare that to the gem system in Diablo Immortal, not only do you have to pull duplicates of a 0.05% chance gem or even a 3% gem, you also have to have other gems to power it up. This means that you act, and again, you can't really earn these gems as a free-to-play player. You really can't. Like, technically, you can, but not reasonable. This means that you have to actually do 10 crest runs just for fodder. Just to burn them and destroy them to power up your other gem. That would be like having to do multis in a gacha game just to get the base units to use them to power up your other units. You know, that's not needed. And every other gacha game, when you want to power up that unit, like that's power itself, you just level it up, which you use by in-game mats that you earn. And so the fact that, number one, Diablo Immortal does not give out in-game mats for upgrading gems is stupid. Two, the fact that you actually have to run the 1-star gems to rank them up is stupid. The fact that you have to get copies of 5-star gems to rank them up is stupid when you add everything into it. Now, it would be one thing if, say, for example, that's another, speaking of gems, that's another thing stupid. Why are 5-star gems 2, 3, or 4, or 5 stars? Like, that's stupid. It should be 5 stars. In fact, there should be no 5 stars. It should be a 1, 2, 3 star. That's it. Boom. 3 ranks. 1, 2, 3. And each rank should have the ability to power it up. For example, rank 1s should be easily available for free-to-play players. Free-to-play players should be able to get rank 1s at least 1 time a day. We should be getting a crest that gives, like, the base crest should guarantee us a 1-star gem per run. And we should be able to get those a day so that we can power up those gems quite easily. And then have 1-star gems be able to go up to 3 stars, but, you know, of course, they're not going to be as powerful as a 3-star gem. This happens in gacha games all the time. 2 stars, same thing. You know, make the 2 stars available once a week for free-to-play players. And then the 3 stars, you know, 3 stars once a month. There's no problem with that. That would give your paid players a reason to spend, but also keep your free-to-play players close enough that your paid players, your whales, have someone to play with. Watching Rich's video, that's one thing I think he noticed, is that he can't play with anybody. And when he gets so powerful, and that's another thing, in this game, when you get too powerful, it's not fun. Like, you get to a point where it's just... And because the power difference is not that big in a gacha game, other gacha games, that doesn't happen. Now, it does happen when you go in against somebody who's really got bad units, but not against someone who's a smart free-to-play player who's saved their money and played correctly. So, I know this video has been long, but I've seen already 2 different YouTubers who have defended Diablo Immortal's practice, and they say, I play gacha, I play mobile games all the time. And I hate that because that gives all mobile game players a bad reputation. The fact is, most mobile players, and if you look at communities such as the 7 Daily Sins community, they will actually call out the company when the company does something like this. If I can tell you right now, if 7 Daily Sins Grand Cross did this, if Dragon Ball Legends did this, if Dokkan Battle did this, if any other mobile game I played did this, the community, the mobile gaming community, would attack them. And that's because there is a certain amount of predatory behavior. Like, there is an amount of shit we don't take. I guess the best way to say it. Like, I'm going to say straight up, the prices for mobile games are freaking retarded. I don't agree with any of them. Even Honkai, which is my bread and butter, the one I really enjoy, I think it's overpriced. I'm not going to sugarcoat my favorite game. I'm going to call it out on that. It's overpriced. And the rates, even at the rate, the better rates to pull a unit you want, like a 1.5% chance to pull the unit I want, is so much better than other games. But it's still bad. And I'm going to call it out if it's bad. And that's something that I think needs to be called out. And the fact is, well, I guess this is kind of a reach out to all PC players. If you're a PC player, this is out for you, and this is something I want you to understand about the mobile game players. There's always a handful that will sit there and say, "Please, may I have another?" when they're being bent over the table. This has happened in Grand Cross. This has happened in Dragon Ball Legends. This has happened in every other game. But there's a majority that is going to be with you guys saying, "Nah, this is bad." Yes, for a mobile game, the gameplay is quite fun because it's mobile. But for a mobile game, the monetary is very bad. And I'm going to just say, like, I watched two people right now say that all mobile games start like this and they get better over time and they make content for all the players. Wrong. That is dead wrong. All good gacha games usually start out giving a lot more. This is why people who play gacha games do what's called re-rolling. And this is where you play the introduction, you roll, you're like, I hate this starting hand, let's do it again. Delete the game, repeat, delete, repeat. I did this for a game I'm playing called Slime Isekai Memories. And you know what? I knew I wanted 3 specific units. And I re-rolled until I got those 3 units. I got them. And I played that. That was my account. The reason you can do this is because gacha games give you such a good beginning. Gacha games don't bend you over until you get to the end game. But even that, it's not this bad. And you can't even tell that end game for a while. Like if you were to take, for example, Dokkan Battle, do a reroll, use the bot to reroll your account, you're going to have so many gems from that story mode, all the events, all the stuff that they give you, that you can do like, what, I think 40 to 50 multis? Which is usually what I do around the anniversaries for fun. But if you, so for anyone who says, oh, it all starts like this and then it gets better. No. Mobile games go like this, right? Oh, wow, it's really good. Why the hell did they do that? Oh, wow, that's really good. Why the hell did they do that? Well, like most common thing is 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. 2 steps forward, 3 back. That's a common one. Now, it is true that mobile games do regularly update their data, but this also can be a bad thing. Because this could, in PvP especially, this means that they're regularly changing the meta way too quickly to where you now need to summon more often. This is why I try to avoid PvP. Well, first of all, is why I don't anymore pay for PvP-based mobile games. Because they're always going to change the meta. And unless I can see a unit's going to stand for a long time due to an ability they have, a passive ability, I'm not going for it. The last one I went for, I knew this character, he's going to stand for a while due to his passive. His passive is good enough. He's going to be meta for a while. It's going to take a lot to take him out of the meta. Anyways, I'm already almost to about 50, I'm over 50 minutes in this video. I know my quality is not as great as other YouTubers, but I hope you guys have watched it through. I hope you guys understand that, number one, Diablo Immortal is not a gacha game. Diablo Immortal is a loot box game. Now, I know some people might say that's like apples and oranges, but no, there's quite a difference between a gacha game and a loot box game. And if you actually seriously play some of the better gacha games, you will see that. You will fully see that. Because the difference between a gacha game and a loot box game is that loot box games, to be frankly honest, they're gacha games on crack. They're gacha games at its very worst possible state. And good gacha games actually know how to balance free-to-play. And this is one thing about loot box games. Loot box games do not balance free-to-play and pay-to-win. Gacha games that are good, that last 3 years, balance pay-to-win and free-to-play. This is why Honkai has had their 4th year anniversary. This is why Dokkan Battle had 7. This is why Legends having their 4th. And Grand Cross is having their 3rd. And this is why Genshin will have a 3rd. Because they balance free-to-play and pay-to-win. To a point where some of those games, I would argue, would not pay to win. Diablo Immortal will last a year because it has, well, let's be honest, Blizzard has diehard fans that cannot admit when their game sucks. Look at World of Warcraft. Look at the fact that 2 bad expansions have come out and they're still willing to pre-order a 3rd. And they talk about how it's going to beat Final Fantasy XIV, which has had 2 killer expansions that have actually taken people from World of Warcraft to the point where they don't want to come back. This is something that this is their fan base, and because this is their fan base, they will do, you'll probably have a bigger handful, I'll say a bigger handful of the fans that sit there and will deny the reality. And I think it's going to be worse for Diablo because you're going to have mobile game players that do that, and you're going to have Diablo fans that do that. Versus other mobile games where you just have a mobile fan base that does that and everyone else saying, no, this is not right, we want it fixed. And if you are someone that likes Diablo Immortal, if you're someone that wants to defend the game, stop. Think of it this way. As long as you sit there and defend it and say it's not pay to win, the game will not get better. There's absolutely no reason for Blizzard to make the game better if you sit there saying, oh, the game's already good, oh, the game's not pay to win. If you continue to say this, and you continue to make these defensive videos, Blizzard will have no reason to make the game better. And if you're going to post a dumb video like how to get a 5-star gem and then post something that most people know and talk about how the game isn't pay to win because look, oh, you have a 3% chance to craft this 5-star gem after 50 rift runs. That's like I'm about doing it. I don't want to do that randomly. 50 rift runs is anywhere between, what is that? 150 minutes to 250 minutes? So about 3 to 5 hours? Oh, that sounds fun. I'm sitting right in my Minecraft for 3 to 5 hours. And if you look at these free-to-play players that are actually making these videos to defend it, they're like, I just got off an 8-hour stream or a 13-hour stream or this. Dude, we can't play that long, nor do I want to play one game that long. So if you're sitting here defending Diablo Immortal, think about it this way. Do you want the game to get better or not? If you want it to get better, then stop defending this crap. And if you're sitting there thinking that Diablo Immortal and gacha games are the same, again, that's a very bad comparison. Gacha games are way better. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're for everybody. But I am saying they're way better than Diablo Immortal. And play a couple gacha games, free to play, don't spend any money. Play them free for about a month, and you'll see the difference. It's a big difference. With that said, Secret Lane signing out. I hope this video at least clarifies some of these comparisons. I want to shout out to a couple of YouTubers. I've been watching Beliar. I really enjoy his content. Asmongold, absolutely love the guy. I'm surprised I love him so much. These are the two biggest ones that I've been talking about it, and I really hope you both know. From a person who plays gacha games, there is a difference between this and gacha games. My advice is play Genshin Impact for 6 months. Don't play it hardcore. Don't spend money. That will ruin the effect. Play those games free to play for about 6 months. Play Diablo Immortal for about... Well, you can play Diablo Immortal for 6 months if you want to, but I think you already know that one. But play Genshin Impact for 6 months. Play it casually. Don't play hardcore. Play it casually like you'd play any other game. Don't stream it. And then compare that to Diablo Immortal, and I think you will see a world of difference. Where, unlike Diablo Immortal, because by the way, here's one thing about Genshin Impact I want to say real quick before I go, and Honkai Impact. No, I can't say about Honkai. I can only say about Genshin Impact. I can't say about Honkai. One thing I want to say about Genshin Impact before I go, as well as Dokkan Battle. Yeah, those two. Dragon Legends shows what you get in your clan, but Dokkan Battle and Genshin Impact, one thing I want to say about these two games before I go and close this off. One trait gacha games use is showing what other players have achieved or drawn. Both of these games do not do this. This means that you can play both of these games and go for what you want to go for. And as long as you're not trying to go for every single character, I think you're just good. And if you're willing to just put $5 down a month, it makes things easier. But I would suggest trying it 6 months free to play to see how that free to play feels versus, heck, even a month to be honest, versus looking at Diablo. I think this will give a good idea, mindset of the difference between gacha and loot boxes. And again, it's very easy to see them as the same if you don't play both. But if you've seen both and you've witnessed both, you will very much see a difference. As for Asmon, talk to Rich. I'm sure he could, well, I don't know, Rich is a pay-to-win player. Don't talk to Rich. He's a pay-to-win player. I would ignore that one. I would also ignore talking to Tectone about it, as they're both pay-to-win players. And I think the best way to understand is to try it free to play and see how it goes. You will hate the game. It's definitely not for you. I think the story is really dumb. I do enjoy the gameplay. I think the gameplay is very good. You are going to hate the game 100%. I'm not asking you to play the game to like the game. I'm more saying it'll give a good comparison of how different gacha games are to Diablo Immortal and the loot box system. With that said, Secret Lane signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, do whatever. If you didn't enjoy it, I really don't care. If you didn't enjoy it and you're going to continue to defend Diablo Immortal, well then there's any more talking is just a waste of breath. Because as a person who plays gacha games, a person who spends in some gacha games, even I'll tell you, this is absolutely horrendous. This is horrible. And while I do enjoy some of the gameplay, this is not acceptable at all. But the gameplay also, by the way, is not as great as people make it out to be. I too have seen a lot of the issues. Asmon brings up, it's not that great. It's okay, but it's not that great.